That's Serena Williams' husband.
Is it? Do you think she had like a tennis racket to his head, like, resign now? I'm moving it.
You better stand up for me.
We have a talent.
Oh my God.
This is very vital.
I'm gonna cry.
Black lives have always mattered.
Before, personally, I didn't think he'd be one of the ones that would come out and say something. But him coming out, I love that. I love the energy.
And now is the time. I ain't waiting.
Honestly, you know you're like holding your breath when you're watching something.
Every black person in there remembers when another person.
I was actually in the crowd there on that day. And to be honest, I love John Boyega. I feel like as much as we are like, everybody needs to speak out, you got to think about feeding your family as well. Like if you are in a job where, you know, speaking out might affect your career, because he's spoken out in a way that he has shown, I do not care. I feel like every single black man to be speaking out like that, showing that frustration, but at the same time showing that it is done in a peaceful way and in a way that this isn't going to incriminate us or tarnish our image or that to show that we're going to war. No, we are just demanding our rights.
He's at a level where I'd like to reach, and when you get to that level, you have to really be careful about what you say, and he's putting his work, his career, everything on the line. Doing something like this is very dangerous in the world we live in.
Because I feel like with a lot of black celebrities, when they reach that level where they're benefiting from like white supremacy, that's when they go quiet. Or that's when they'll be like, fight hate with love. Like, I get it, but you can't always fight hate with love.
I think Martin Luther King said you shouldn't judge someone by where they stand in times of comfort. You should judge them where they stand in times of crisis and controversy.
15 years ago, I co-founded Reddit as a place for people to find community and a sense of belonging. I'm saying this as a father who needs to be able to answer his black dog.
That's Alexis and Yahael, right?
What did you do? So I have resigned as a member of the Reddit board. I have urged them to fill my seat with a black candidate. And I will use future gains on my Reddit stock to serve the black community, chiefly to curb racial hate. And I'm starting with a pledge of $1 million to Colin Kaepernick's Know Your Rights campaign.
That's Serena Williams' husband.
Is it? Do you think she had like a tennis racket to his head, like, resign now? I'm moving it.
You better stand up for me.
I'm for it. I think that's real tangible change. To allow a black person who is capable. This isn't just about positive discrimination for positive discrimination's sake. It's also about meritocracy.
Obviously, there are loads of reasons why he did it, but I like that he mentions that he did it for his daughter as opposed to his wife, because it is about the next generation. It is about what happens after us. We can demand our rights and we can demand equality, but ultimately and unfortunately, we're not going to see it in this generation. I mean, hopefully, I pray.
It's a shame that he has to resign, because people with his mentality, I want them in high places. I'd love him to be able to stay at the job, and then a black person come in. I'd love to, whoever is underachieving, to then like their jobs be at risk.
Hopefully Serena's teaching him a thing or two at home as well, and he's learning about the experiences of black people.
Hopefully he's teaching himself a thing or two. I think it's incumbent upon the non-black person to do a lot of the research themselves.
I think that donation towards that Know Your Rights organization is really is showing something that's meaningful, and he's actually doing something to help the community rather than just saying I support Black Lives Matter. It shows the kind of mentality that more people in positions of power need to take to actually use their power and their wealth and their capital to do something about the issue.
We need justice for George Floyd. We all witnessed his murder in broad daylight. We're broken and we're disgusted. We cannot normalize this pain. And I'm not only speaking to people of color. If you're white, black, brown, or anything in between, I'm sure you feel hopeless by the racism going on in America right now. Please sign the petition and continue to pray for peace, compassion, and healing for our country. Thank you so much.
Can I say one thing?
Go on. Oh god.
It was the music.
Why is there like some like composition in the background?
What?
Why
Is it a song?
why is she using an Instagram filter?
I don't understand.
This seems. I'm sorry, but this just.
It's just too much, man.
The problem here for me is that Beyonce has become such a cult of personality. She seems that she has to ring fence that idea. At moments like this, you really need to just bring down this invisible barrier between you and the audience.
The audience.
Be yourself. And I feel like that is she's created such a division that people don't feel, or people might not feel as though the message that she's delivering is authentic, particularly if you're just reading off a script.
Obviously, because of who she is, I can understand that when she says something like that to millions of people on Instagram, it might have to be pre-written. I can honestly say Beyonce has done so much for the Black community. She's like, I want to speak out on behalf of the African Americans. I want to speak out on behalf of the Swahilis. I want to speak out on behalf of the Nigerians, and spoke and helped the people. On top of that, she's sent money to bail thousands of protesters out in America. For me, I feel like she's doing an amazing job. I just feel like they just don't get that she does genuinely care about this stuff.
And I think it's important for someone like her to speak like that. As much as we understand what they're saying and we can vibe with them 100%, politicians and white people and the people who aren't understanding us now aren't going to understand the people that we do understand. And I think it's good people like Beyonce are vocalising it for a much larger audience.
She's talking almost as if she's not Black.
Yeah.
She's talking almost as if she's trying to appease everybody, as opposed to also address a community that affects herself, that affects her husband, that affects her children. The way in which she's kind of separated herself from the issue, it seems very impassionate. Like, just talk, like you said, just talk. Show us your pain. Show us how it affects you as a successful Black woman that has broken many ceilings in her industry. Show us how that it still affects you to a kind of emotional, mental, and physical level. Like, it affects all of us because you're Black as well. It could have been her. It could have been her husband. It could have been her father. It could have been one of her. If she has brothers, it could have been her brother or cousin. Do you know what I mean? It's that close to home. I don't feel that from this video.
So, I have been posting my thoughts and my stance on this, but I haven't spoken directly because I don't know what to say. I am so sad and I am so angry. I have a platform and I have a voice, and I have always stood for equality. This has gone on way, 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 way too long. And let's send a whole bunch of love out there and try to find some peace and some communication in this.
Okay.
I don't know why I want to laugh watching this here, but I don't know. The thing is, I quite like Ellen DeGeneres. I think she's got a good show. She actually often platforms young Black.
Yeah.
But there's something about this that just seems a bit weird. Everybody is now really sad. Why are you now really sad?
This is what I've been asking. Like, why are you upset?
5 years ago, you know, when it was the protests for Eric Garner and Philando Castile and Sandra Bland. These people were not sad then. Why are they
sad now?
When she started speaking, I felt sincerity, but she is so conscious of saying the wrong thing and upsetting the wrong people and being blacklisted amongst her white peers, and she's thinking so much about herself that she hasn't been able to articulate herself properly. She said something for the sake of saying something.
She agree.
Didn't say something because she wanted to.
No, I agree. I feel like she could have been a little bit more proactive with it. She didn't say sign the petition. She didn't say anything practical. Like, what is the solution behind it? How are we going to change the issue at hand? And again, she's, you know, it's like, okay, thanks. What are we supposed to do with that?
Literally, yeah. If you don't have a clear message that you want to share, then you might as well just not say anything.
It's not talk, yeah, because what's our followers supposed to do with that? Be crying together?
Before or after the people of colour comments?
Personally, I don't really like the term people of colour. Especially when you're speaking about a Black issue, you know? People of colour kind of like generalizes anyone that's literally got some melanin in their skin. People of colour and Black, they're not the same thing.
But I think that might have been what she was trying to do. I think it has broadened a little bit now, and I think we are being put into one bracket, and I think that's why we're having to sort of fight it now as one bracket rather than black people and people of colour.
I don't know, I just think sometimes it's important to differentiate between the two.
I just find it like laughable as much as I do lamentable that it takes having to witness somebody's demise on camera for 10 minutes in that manner for people to actually wake up to the reality of the experience that black people face on a day-to-day basis, particularly in the United States of America. In fact, what I want to see, I'm really interested to see, is people like Ellen having a roundtable discussion with other white people to talk about the history of oppressive practices that they have exerted on people of color. I don't want to see people's personal grievances and their personal plights anymore.
I can't say white people in general, yeah, but white leaders, white leaders around the world, yeah,
they don't get it.
They've warned Kente, they've kneeled with us, they've done everything but implement policy that will destroy the actual problem. Do you know how easy they must think we are to please? Like,
Fam.